Okay, fine. I promise the next movie that I review won't be about Japan in the 1940s. The Boy and the Heron, the new Hayao Miyazaki movie, is about Mateo, a young 12-year-old boy struggling to settle in his new town after his mother's death. However, when a talking heron informs Mateo that his mother is still alive, he enters an abandoned tower in search for her, which takes him to another world. I'm going to start this video off by saying that I'm not the most well-informed person on all of Hayao Miyazaki's work. I've seen Spirited Away, but that's it. There's not really that much else that I've seen. I absolutely love Spirited Away. It's honestly one of my favorite animated movies that I've ever seen. So this was the second movie of his that I went out and saw. I was really excited to go see it. And after watching this movie, I've been left nothing but confused. This video isn't going to be as structured as most of my other ones. I'll go over a few of the positives, a few of the negatives, and then I really want to get into the crux about what the confusion is for me behind this movie, but why I still have a solid appreciation for what it is. So I'll start off with the good and say that the music in this movie is absolutely fantastic. I love the score, the piano sound, the Heron's theme, really, specifically that, is amazing. Every single scene in this movie is beautiful. It looks like literally every single scene looks like a painting. I cannot compliment Studio Ghibli enough. This movie is absolutely gorgeous and it sounds absolutely amazing. A few of the negative things that I'm going to briefly mention before I get into the majority of this video is that Mateo and the Heron themselves aren't really that much of characters. They're really just vehicles to get you through the movie. You don't feel that much empathy. You don't feel that much connection with either of them. And I was left being really confused by both of them. Himi and the grand uncle that you get to meet in the movie, they both have a lot more connectivity and relation. And I feel like their characters were definitely more of characters because Mahito is very, very, very closed off and stoic, especially for a 12-year-old. He doesn't really act like it, and I guess that can be because of the traumatic experience of his mother dying, but it doesn't really come across in the movie in a way that you can feel empathetic about it. So now I'm going to get into where my confusions lie about this movie. This is all extremely subjective, and I really want to hear what your guys' thoughts about this movie are down in the comments below, because overall, I had a very fun time with this movie. The pacing of it I thought was phenomenal. It flew by for 2 hours. It probably helps this movie that there was only one trailer before it in the showing that I went to, because I got an early access screening for it. There was only one trailer, so this movie flew by. I didn't feel like I was in the theater for very long at all. But again, everything that I'm about to say is extremely subjective because it's about the themes and what you can really take away from this movie and what I personally took away from it. So it didn't feel very connected. Every scene seemed like there was a purpose behind it, but I just couldn't figure out what exactly it was. Like every single scene felt meticulous and it felt purposeful, but I couldn't understand the majority of it. It's a very, very, very confusing movie that I was still able to take away some things from, but I'm not sure what the movie intended because it's really frustrating because usually I feel like I have a good idea of what the movie was intending and what the movie was going for. Like movies like Dream Scenario that I just reviewed. I feel like I know what that movie was going for in terms of an allegory for social media and cancel culture. But for this movie, I've just been left confused because I don't really know what to think about it, but I am thinking about it a lot, and I think that both Miyazaki movies that I've watched, Spirited Away, I just thought about that movie constantly, but I felt like I understood it a lot more than how much I understand this movie. Some of the things that I personally did take away from this movie were about forcing a family dynamic and how you actually make one. I felt like this movie did a pretty good job of illustrating that in the first 30 minutes, and how Mateo interacts with his aunt. I thought that the dynamic there was pretty well fleshed out, and I thought that her character was one of the better ones throughout the movie. And themes like forcing a family and how to actually build a family get reinforced throughout the movie. One specific scene, they do a really, really, really good job of driving some of those points home. Letting go of people in our life and death, and really how you handle letting go of somebody. I thought that that was a pretty big point that they fleshed out a lot. Our own ways about how we discover the world, and competing ideologies about what kind of world that we want to live in, with positive and negative outlooks of what we are living in. Because both Miyazaki movies that I've watched, again, relating this back to Spirited Away, uh, Spirited Away is a lot about, I forget the little girl's name, but her discovery of the world, and her going through all of these events and just discovering herself, discovering the world, discovering what it means to be human. And this movie does that in a lot of unique, extremely interesting ways that I loved. Like the fight sequence, a few of the fighting sequences, especially when like the seagulls came in and attacked the. It starts with a W, the Wubbanubs or something like that. Whenever, like, that entire sequence, the music was amazing, the action was great, but just like some of the themes there, and figuring out what it really means to be human. Like, this movie was very unique, very interesting, and that's why I appreciate this movie, even though I do find it very confusing. It's still something that I can appreciate because it's very unique. It's extremely original, and these are the movies, like specifically animated movies. These are like the cream of the crop, and that's why I went out and was really excited to go see this movie. The next thing that I really took home from this movie, it was really only like one specific line that the grand uncle said towards the end of it, but the idealism versus realism and the pragmatic nature of our world, and what we should ideally be wanting to live in, and having the realism of what we are living in, and how to process that, and how to react to your surroundings. Going away from the movie a little bit, you have the option in your life to look at all the negative things in the world and be like, why are we okay with this? Why are we living in this? This is unacceptable. This is not what we should be doing. Which is completely valid. You can 100% do that. But if this movie critiques that kind of idea, especially with the final 10 minutes, I'd say, where it's just like, why would you want to go back and live in that? And you get the counterpoint of view that you can have so many friends, you can love your family, you can have good experiences, good memories. There's still so much good in the world, and it's really just two competing ideologies clashing against each other. And I've thought that that was one of the better parts of this movie, even though it really wasn't set up too much until the end, at least to me. Again, this is all extremely subjective. This is just how I process the movie and what I took away from it. This movie would definitely benefit from a rewatch from me. Maybe I will rewatch it. Maybe I'll make a second video explaining what I thought about this rewatch, because I found this movie fascinating. I'm still confused by it, but I'm still interested in it, and I still have a profound appreciation for it. And after a little bit of research, I found out that the original title of this movie is How Do You Live, which I think is perfect, because that's what this movie should have been called in America. There's no reason for this to be called The Boy and the Heron, because How Do You Live is a significantly better title that mentally prepares you for what kind of movie that you are about to watch. Because, I mean, literally just looking that up, that helps me process this movie a lot more. So I don't have really too much more to say about this movie, guys. Let me know what you thought of The Boy and the Heron down in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Again, just going to reiterate this. I have a profound appreciation for this movie. I don't really know how to give it a rating. If I would, I'd say like 3.5, maybe up to a 4. This movie is confusing, but it's definitely a good time. You'll enjoy it no matter what. This is definitely something that you can take your kids to go see. So I don't have too much more to add. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, and we will see you in the next movie review.